How's it going, YouTube? Welcome to the Cosmic Ray channel. I'm your host, Cosmic Ray. First, before I begin, I would like to say thank you to my spirit guides, my ancestral guides, my angels, my spirit animals, what I call my spirit family or group. Also, I want to say thank you to my angels, thank you to Gaia, thank you to even the Internet or Dimensional Vibrational Outline People is what I've dubbed them. Thank you, universe. Thank you for all of those, that matter, that help us to even understand, this consciousness, this life, this realm of, existence. Tonight is the full moon for, the day before, technically, the full moon for February. And I always say that, it's like even the day before, sometimes even a couple days before, but the day before and the day after, and obviously the day of the official full moon, is always like where you start seeing different types of, or feeling different types of energies. Of course, I was kind of joked around a little bit with one of my buddies, is saying that he's starting to understand a little bit more of the spiritual side and a little bit more of the etherical and more of the trying to get into understanding even like slightly like other stuff like the numerology and whatnot. And I always tell him like, oh, this full moon and this full moon coming up, and next full moon, and I realize every single month, every time there's like the full moon, it's always like the full moon of the mall, right? Like the one above all of the full moons, and it always seems that way. I know this time, of course, it's like last time or the other times before, right? But the full moon energy, is usually there's always something like major, right? There's always something major going on. Like, oh, this is the closest the moon's going to be. This is like the biggest, the brightest. This is like the most ultimate. And I love Gaia. I love this. I love like everything that's been going on in my existence. And so I definitely don't want to make lighthearted of it. But of course I am in a sense. Because it always seems that way, and I always, like I told him one day, I remember I was like, well, this full moon, man, it's gonna be like the craziest of them all, and this is where the moon's the brightest and it's the biggest. And then I started realizing, oh, okay, then next month, oh, this is supposed to be the time where the full moon energy is so crazy. So don't have other like predictions besides just the whole like the full moon energy in itself, and try to utilize that for your own well-being. And that's really like what it's about, is to appreciate and understand, that when there's a full moon or a new moon or however, the different phases, if you will, when it comes in, to appreciate, to understand, to even value certain energies that it can use even for you and for your own well-being. And there's certain things that people like to do, they like to write down different things when it comes like either in the new moon or full moon of utilizing these type of energies. And sometimes it's more like I guess another way to put it, like a goal. It doesn't have to be, but it's what they call setting the intentions. And also too, some people have their own rituals, I guess the easiest way to explain that, their own like setup or process, for going through the full moon. Sometimes people even, like I said, besides writing things down, sometimes they even like cleanse themselves, whether if that's just grounding outside, like bare feet on the grass, or maybe it's something like very like meditation wise, or maybe it's something where you bathe yourself or shower yourself. And you can always use like even like say soaps that have like Himalayan salt or something, to that effect, where like you totally cleanse yourself. Sometimes you even sage yourself, or even use um, any type of like incense, or even like Palo Santo, or something to that effect, to kind of help cleanse yourself. Sometimes people even do other spiritual things, even like drumming. If you do believe in that, of course, I do. Um, and there's just other different ways, kind of cleansing yourself. You don't have to do any, that stuff where it has to be this or something like that. It could be anything really. And it was just something that kind of brought to my forefront lately regarding like the moon. I swear I was gonna call him and tell him like, oh hey, man, this full moon, it's gonna be it's gonna be major. And I realized like I say that all the time. It's like every month it's always something crazy or something going on. So tonight I just wanted to kind of touch up a little bit, on the about the full moon process. And I do feel the energies. I don't know about you guys. You know, you let me know how the energy feels like with the full moon. You know, with you. You know, I always said before in my past where it's like back in the day when I didn't really believe in any of the stuff. I always felt like the full moon brings out the crazies. You know. And I always felt like it always brought out like this inner wolf inside me, like jokingly in a sense of the turn into like a werewolf kind of thing where I just get so mad and so frustrated, like oh. And over time, I realized, I was kind of blaming like other people, like, oh man, everyone can't drive during the full moon, or everyone's crazy, everyone's act dumb and just nuts. And I realized too, yes, that could be it, or you could just be utilizing the law of attraction in the worst way possible, and attracting that anger because maybe you have like your own fixations of the full moon and what it means to you. Maybe that just brings it out and more amplifies it in a sense. But also you can always use light for good, because I realized after my spiritual awakening that things started changing for me in regards to like the full moon, or the believing the full moon brings out the crazies. I realized that does happen for other people, but now like for me, knock on wood kind of thing, um, it doesn't happen to me as much, and little to none, anymore. And that too, I've also realized, sometimes it may be good even, even for going out, or maybe even not to go out. But I realized too, even my energy, or like how I feel like while I'm driving, even like before this whole spiritual awakening or me understanding about the moon, like I knew when it was gonna be a full moon. Like I don't know if anyone else ever got that. And don't get me wrong, obviously yes. If you look at the moon, you start seeing that it's gonna be, it starts getting more, instead of like the half, or like the crescent, and starts getting I don't want to say bigger, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like more fuller, I guess, more into like the sphere, circle, shape, spherical shape. And before the obviousness, but it's like in the daytime, like I could like tell, and not even looked at the moon or the phases of the moon. Obviously, don't look at the internet or anything like the obvious ones. And I felt like it was one of those, like, it's gotta be a full moon tonight. It's gonna be a full moon, and I always get those instances, or those knee jerk and gut reactions of like, yes, I could tell by the way other people are driving, or the way people have been acting, like it's got to be a full moon tonight. And I would say, a good 8.5 to 9 out of 10, like I'd be right. And I wouldn't be saying it every day, of course, but sometimes it felt that way. But no, there would be those times where I'm like, it's going to be a full moon. And then, of course, I would later on, when I get those feelings, I would check, and I'm like, yeah, it's a full moon. That's nuts. And you can just kind of just feel that within the depths of you. And now, like for me, it's more like it's been kind of like calm, cool, collect, like just low energy kind of thing. And at least for myself, be able to kind of start just, and then over time I can like feel the moon's energy like amplifying, yes, like amplifying things, and they're getting bigger and bigger, and just like all this energy, and it's just how you kind of deal with it, and how if you can utilize it for yourself. And yes. Yeah, so as soon as I looked at the like all the lights in the candle, I know it's hard to see that back one, the taller one move, but right now it wasn't. I saw when I was looking at it, I think it was all moving. Of course, these two are moving over there, and then like that third one up there was gone. But right now I'm feeling like my own little energies, and I felt like I wanted to do a little bit of what I like to call candle love, candle magic divination, and I know when I say it's just like a kind of love, like when you give just love to someone else in a sense, like more metaphorically. Now I know I can do, but I don't like to manipulate certain things. When I say kind of love, I'm not trying to like such as in like, oh, I'm going to force love onto someone, or make you have a way to trick someone into love. Now I'm not saying that's impossible. That is very well possible in a sense to kind of do what they call like a love type spell, if you believe in spells. I in a sense do, just something from like my past lives. So yes, that is true. Whether or not I want to show that to you guys, that's one thing. But I was just saying this more metaphorically speaking, like Kendall love, like just giving you my love, this showing me Kendall love to me, kind of showing you what I like to call my divinations. And it's something, if you've never seen any of this before. It's just something to kind of just, I know there's a little different things that's on YouTube about that, and you don't usually see something like this, like for what I've been doing. You'll see some people on YouTube just talking about it. But in this case, I want to kind of show you there's other things that you can do to talk with what we call just spirit in general, whether you know specifically what that spirit is, or spirits in general, or some people feel like you're communicating with deceased spirits, angel spirits, higher self pulling in that energy, or what we call spirit. um, and in other aspects, I've done what I call my divinations with the why I've dubbed the Dimensional Vibrational Outline People. That is something also that you're able to do. When you see the candles flicker, and just in case if you don't already know this, I always say it's having me like speak my truth, like confirming my truth with you, knowing that usually when I'm saying something like at a high point, like that's why they're flickering in a sense. Now I can kind of see the right now the lighting is kind of changing at the moment, as well as the candle. That's another thing that's been happening lately. Yes, as you can tell. Now, if there was like air conditioning, which there's not, it's cold right now. As you can tell, I usually wear clothes, or I'm sorry, I usually don't wear stuff, but now I'm wearing even more, so it's getting a lot colder. And it's one of those things where if there was air conditioning or the windows, obviously, if I was like moving really fast, of course I would understand the candles flickering. Now, if you know anything about candles, when like wax builds up, when it gets hot, the wetness of the wax that's like melted, it's like more liquidy in a sense, would kind of mess up the flicker of the candle, and it would just make it either consistently flicker until it turns off, or cuts off, if you will. But it doesn't do this. Yep. See, it's like it wouldn't be still. It would just keep going until it's done. And yes, so that's just something that I wanted to kind of bring about. Now I know some of you have already seen my videos. Understand this is what happens. Yeah, all three are going. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, all three of the lights. And it's kind of hard to see that back one, but that one's going kind of crazy, like a little bit more than the rest. Now, of course, too, sometimes flickering of the candles, depending how you have it set up with spirit, the lights can flicker different ways. Like you can go up, sometimes some just go like this, as if there was like a wind shift, kind of thing, like going this way, some will go this way, and some of it just does like just different type of flickers. So I don't know if you already knew that, but if you didn't, that's something with you. That's not something necessarily with everyone when it comes to that. Doesn't necessarily mean one way has to be it with you. It's just you have this feeling, and I know it's kind of dumb because like, well, how can you prove feeling? It's just the knowingness of it. It's like when you quote unquote know someone who loves you, and from someone saying that they love you, it's something like that. It's just one of those things where it's just in your bones. I just hate to say it. It's one of those. It's not for you. It's for the person doing it. They know. It doesn't mean that I have to prove it to you, in a sense. It's just yeah, that far one's going. Sorry. It's just one of those things that you would know inside from your own reactions, and it's just it's just what I call not a belief, not a guess, not a I wonder. It's more of a knowing, presence, and that also comes in effect too. You have to like know thyself, in a sense. You got to be able to try it yourself and to see how it reacts and works for you. If you seen some of my past videos, and I have tried to talk to like spirits. Well, not try to. I have talked to spirits and like people who have passed in other realms of existence too, and channel my higher self. Able to talk to my spirit, if you will, and I've done that many a time. And so I'll check back with this video and just kind of see if there's any difference or light shifts, but without turning off all the lights, in my room that I'm in right now, just to see just the candles itself. For whatever reason, I was guided to kind of show you this right now. Yeah, I just saw something dark. I don't know if that shows up on camera. I just went like a little in and out a little bit. Right? Yeah. Okay. So I thought I just saw that really quick. But let's try this different type of lighting. Just all I'm doing is I just had a light like further away back on the other side. Just to kind of see if there's anything else that kind of shows up to the forefront for you that's watching this or just receiving this on your end. And this is one of those things that, who knows, maybe this is something where I don't feel like I'm quote unquote special. I know the age old saying of, well, if we're all special, then quote unquote no one's special. But I do truly believe that everyone is actually special and have their own unique gifts, to bring to this consciousness, to this universe, to this collective, to everyone in this realm of existence, if you will. And it doesn't necessarily mean that like anyone's power is better than others or anything like that. It's just a unique thing. It's just other thing that other people, can do. A lot of people show love, but some people do it differently. Some people talk about it. Some people show love. Some people do things maybe help raise you that you may not have like paid attention to in your life. You may have, man. At first I wasn't going to talk about certain things, but now I feel like I'm ready to go. Sometimes like when it's just kind of appreciation, of the little things too. Like maybe now I realize that when someone grew up, they may not told you enough then that they loved you, and you probably felt like, well, God, they never said anything. They love me, but sometimes they showed it to you. Or sometimes you may not even understood that because you think maybe showing, maybe when you're growing up, you had a different presence of like what showing someone they love is, maybe maybe there's something else. And I just truly feel from the depths within me that, at least for me, I've had different forms. People like say as a kid buying me like toys, or like showing me like by telling me they love me. Sometimes they would show certain things, but just knowing from like the heart. And I think it took a while for me to like quote unquote grow up. I'm not saying you have to grow up, but for me, it's just one of those things where I feel like I had to grow up, have my own kids, understand other stuff for myself, and to appreciate other things that maybe my parents have done that maybe I didn't, or took for granted, or maybe pay attention to other little things. Like say example, like say helping with my homework, something where you're like, well, parents are supposed to do that. Well, yes, but knowing that it's not just them helping with your homework as a parent, but it's them struggling through their own life, like for them to just be able to have and make that time. Oh shit, I feel like something's like coming inside right now. Maybe it's like maybe I'm in shadow work right now at the same time as simultaneously. Oh man, give me a second. So maybe it's like one of those moments where you have, I'm sorry to be a little open to you guys. Maybe it's one of those moments where like see someone's helping with your homework and you think that, well, they're my parent, they should be helping me. Blah, 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 blah. But it's like, what are they going through at that time? Maybe they're going through their own struggles. Maybe they're going through other things that just took so hard for them just to even like have that 10 minutes or whatever, how long it was, just to do that homework with you. And yes, you may have thought, well, they should have. Yeah, yes, generally speaking, yes. Someone should help you, if you needed that help, but some people don't get that help. You have to realize that too, and be appreciative that you got that help. Some of us didn't get help. And it's one of those things where you start to appreciate and like, man, they did take the time at their busy schedule for them working so hard and probably just want to go home and just sleep and not quote unquote be bothered. That they actually took the time to want to help us out, and stuff like that. It's just to be able to kind of appreciate. And sorry, I don't know what kind of tangent there, but it's like one of those feelings you get inside. So like when I always say my candle love magic divination stuff, you'll know what your answers are. Sometimes the candles will flicker different ways for yeses or nos, or like whatever feelings you get. And as you may have felt like, some of this like has been kept flickering, but then again too, I am actually what I call confirming all my truths. So doesn't necessarily, you don't have to, you can take it for what it is. You can be like, man, this guy's just all BS, and I don't know, maybe the candle's just flickering a flicker. But it's just one of those things where every time like you notice it, you'll notice it, like when I'm, it's what I call speaking my truths. That just happens to flicker when I'm bringing up pretty like good high points, to talk about. Now, when I bring that up, doesn't necessarily mean you have to believe in what I'm saying because you feel like there's some quote unquote supernatural thing that's going on. It's not necessarily like that. It's more of, just know that like at least I'm trying to speak from my heart. Like I am, yeah, I'm trying to speak from within, and I can only at least try to do what I can to help uplift your life condition as well as my own. To kind of give you any confidence that maybe you never felt like, or maybe you're just going through so many things in your life spiritually, you're not even what the hell's going on. You have no one else to you may even listen to or understand what's going on, and that's why I wanted to kind of bring, this platform to help anyone else as well. Of course, it's not like a self-help group or anything, but it's just one of those things just kind of keep open. So I love for you guys, share your stories too, whether and then you can comment, below or whatnot, send me a message. But either way, I do like to know like how, if anything like this has happened, for you, whether the full moon magic, whether you believe in any of this stuff, and you don't have to. It's just one of those things where like I always say, seeing is believing versus believing. Or I'm sorry, like when people say like seeing is believing, sorry, and believing, is seeing. I've always felt like before my past, seeing is believing, but then believing is seeing is kind of like how I've swapped it, in a sense. Yeah. And then I do this so that you can understand, and that helps other people who have that same mentality or belief system as what I used to have, where seeing is believing. I want to show you that maybe just before you never thought of anything about spirituality. Maybe you thought, oh, this is mumbo jumbo. Trust me, if you knew anything about me, I'd be like, dude, you're right. This is all bullshit, right? But I do this so that if you feel just a little bit that anything I'm saying is partially true, that this just happens to be flickering, right? Stop it. It just happens to be flickering when I I say some like high points, that just maybe that in your mind of wherever you thought this was all bullshit, just maybe just start opening up just a little bit. That maybe if this is true, maybe other things in your life could possibly be so much more open, and maybe that might help you out. And I'm not saying that this gives you like magic abilities or powers or whatever it is, and to make you like go crazy, do crazy stuff like hocus pocus, blah 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 blah, and something could lift up or whatever. But if you can, let me know. But it's just more of the moment of that may help you, body, mind, and spirit. What people always say, help you, to kind of deal with other issues going on. Maybe you didn't realize you could meditate, or maybe you thought meditation was bullshit, or maybe you thought quieting your mind or was all BS, or maybe eating healthier foods, or maybe just try to treating your body almost like a temple. Not saying that you have to work out and get crazy and look like a certain type of person, that looks like on this picture or whatever it is, but just for you to just at least maybe attempt to walk if you're able to walk, or attempt to do something different, in your life, to kind of show that you're trying to treat yourself just a little bit better, or whatever that means to you, and that know that you can do this. You don't necessarily need other things, if you will, to help with that you're able to do this yourself. And yeah, the full moon, I always feel like that's always like a good high point to kind of focus on. If you've never tried any like wishful thinking, you utilizing from the new moon for that whole month, for the full moon, writing down certain things, intentions that you like, or I guess somewhat like a goal. I guess, if you're like a goal person, you don't have to be. I got into a point in my mind where I'm like, nah, you don't necessarily need goals. You can set intentions, which may seem like a goal, but it's just kind of, I don't want to say like utilize the law of attraction and kind of just like throw it out there, and then concentrate for like a second, on it, with love, everything, and then intention, and then just kind of just like set it and forget it kind of thing. So, and that kind of just brings, that manifestations forward. With that being said, let me just stop this, because I always try to somewhat keep it short, and I know my videos never seem that way, but I'm just going to keep it short for now. So from Cosmic Ray to the cosmic surfers, not necessarily my cosmic surfers, but to the cosmic surfers out there, riding these cosmic waves of life, of existences, to know that we are all cosmic. We are made of, tiny little molecules and atoms and whatnot. So we're all space dust, if you will. Anyways, cosmic surfers, have a good night, a great weekend, and as always, stay cosmic and enjoy this ride, whether it's a tough one to go, or we find those times where everything's kind of mellow. And remember, you can't be riding much of any type of cosmic waves if everything was just plateaued. All right, good night. You guys stay wild, but not too wild.